Hey gang, tonight I'd like to talk about the Equality Act of 2019 and one of its strongest opponents, the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation is a powerful conservative think tank that has been running videos on YouTube against the bill, H.R. 5, that is being examined in Congress and has been introduced in the Senate. This is much needed legislation as it will finally bring federal protections to the LGBTQ community. Of course, throughout our history, the religious right has argued that equal rights for the LGBTQ population amount to an assault on religious freedom, and that the Equality Act would take away their liberties. This is not true, as the Supreme Court has repeatedly ruled in favor of religious liberties, citing the First Amendment, among other things, and the 1993 Religious Freedom Restoration Act. So they have their protections. Where are ours? Well, ours are in the Equality Act. I want to examine their reasons against this law. Number one, the law would enforce employers to conform to new sexual norms or else lose their businesses and jobs. Well, I agree with the law forcing people to conform to new sexual norms. Although male and female aren't really new concepts, this is fear-mongering. This argument is designed to scare those who can't handle the thought of a man becoming a woman or a woman becoming a man. We are supposed to start out cisgender and stay that way. Trans is scary. It's scary if you're a trans person. It's got to be more scary for somebody that doesn't understand it. I'm not even sure I understand it. It's confusing. I get it. Some people think it's ugly. And it's sick. They just can't get their heads around it. In 30 states in the country, I can be fired for coming out as trans or gay. I can be denied credit, housing, and the use of public accommodations such as restrooms and community services. 20 states already have laws like the Equality Act. How's it going there? You know, we daily see the religious right lighting themselves on fire in the streets because they just can't deal with it, right? We got one Republican in the Senate that supports the bill. Please contact your representatives and let them know where you stand on this. Heritage argues that even though discrimination cases have been won in the courts, that fear of legal issues discourages people from starting businesses. You know, yeah, right. I'd love to be a maid and go to people's houses and clean their houses. But boy, if a gay couple ever calls me up, I don't know if I could deny them. I'd have to deny them, and then I wouldn't be in business anymore and they would sue me. So I guess I can't do that. You know, I guess there's people out there that still feel this way. But it's just, that's total discrimination, okay? That would basically be discriminating against someone for who they are. Not what they do, but who they are. They talk about a high school language teacher who was fired for refusing to use a student's preferred pronouns. This was an administrative decision that no law said needed to be done. No law forced this on anyone. Let's think about it for a minute. Harry Crosby really liked being called Bing. Michael Balzeri wants to be called Flea. He's the bassist for Red Hot Chili Peppers. Gordon Sumner prefers the name Sting. And who is Destiny Hope? I had to look that up. That's Miley Cyrus. Tiger would prefer that you call him that rather than Eldrick Woods. You know, it ain't that difficult for a language teacher to call someone by their preferred pronouns, I would think. You know, I don't know. I guess it's a stretch. Number 3. The act would force hospitals and insurers to provide and pay for services against moral or medical objections. Really? Would you want a surgeon to perform surgery on you if he was morally against it? Yeah, I know we got activists out there trying to find ways to sue people for discrimination. I know. But really, that's terrorism, and I don't condone it. I would find a trans-friendly doctor who would refer me to a trans-friendly surgeon. It happens all the time in my neck of the woods. But maybe all the doctors are on board and the hospital isn't. Okay. A hospital was sued because they canceled the surgery and transferred it to another hospital with the same surgeon because their policy was against removing healthy organs. They found an affiliate hospital to do it, and once again, they were not discriminating against someone for who they are, but what they wanted to do. Okay, and this has been protected by the Supreme Court. No Equality Act is going to change it. My point is the Equality Act will not change the First Amendment or the Religious Freedoms Restoration Act. Number 4, for parents and children, the act would politicize medicine, harming families with interventions to children who may change their minds later. Well, far be it from me to let the government into our homes to mandate treatments. But Heritage claims this will ultimately harm families. It's conjecture, not fact, based on someone's opinion and incomplete information. Scare tactics. To their 500,000 members, they proclaim that scientific debate on trans-affirming therapies would be silenced. So conversion therapy has been basically proven not to work and made illegal in some states so far, and it's on the docket in other states to criminalize conversion therapy. So there's no debate there anymore. The debate's over. At some point, you guys got to just end it. We know that most autogynephilic transsexuals do not exhibit behaviors as young as 18 months. We know that 80% of children reverse their feelings of being trans after puberty. I get it. So yeah, we must protect our children from bad decisions as well as predators. I would disagree with any doctor who would prescribe puberty blockers to a child without extensive counseling and parental involvement. 20% of children do not reverse their feelings. What about them? As an adult, I interviewed myriad therapists and psychologists, and they all had only one treatment for me. Learn to accept yourself. Now, I realize it's different for adults than it is for children. This is something I've been dealing with for my entire life. I'm pretty sure that I'm on the right track now. Heritage tells their followers that all this equality business would stigmatize any and all opposition. Well, I wouldn't want anyone to feel stigmatized. You know, it really sucks to feel stigmatized, okay? Best that we just leave the stigma where it belongs, huh? The act would erase women. The act would erase women. That's an argument. The act would erase women, taking away women-only spaces. So I guess they don't really think too much of women when they say that, you know, if you lose your women-only spaces, you will be erased. I don't know. Now, right there says it all. Okay? Heritage doesn't believe trans women are women. Okay? I think women-only spaces are being occupied right now by women only in the 20 states that allow transgender women to use the ladies' room. Where's the uproar in those states right now? Where's the outcry? Have the women all been erased so they can't speak up? As for children in schools, we have one case in Georgia of what appears to be a complete absence of any evaluation process in a school district. I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's resulted in an alleged boy molesting a 5-year-old girl in the girls' room in the school. Okay, just passing the Equality Act is not going to guarantee that all of your children are going to be preyed upon by boys pretending to be trans girls. I have personally spoken with folks who are involved with their schools, folks who have trans children and who are involved with their schools. The schools have policies set up. The schools talk extensively with the parents. The schools are looking for early and consistent cross-gender identification before the child is, you know, considered for, you know, to use a cross-gender bathroom or or shower stalls. Some schools have specific bathrooms. They're trying to follow the Title IX directive that President Obama sent out a couple of years ago, which now has been, I think, repealed by our buddy in the White House. But they have policies. This school district in Georgia, you can look it up, you can Google it. I'm not going to name them. They had no policy. I read their policy, and their policy was basically no policy. It was really sad, and it's resulted in this, and it's alleged. It is alleged, but you know, I can't imagine that little girl making it up. When you evaluate children like this, you can determine whether or not you can determine a lot of things about them, okay? No teenage boy is going to claim to be a girl and lose his male privilege and have all of his pals laughing at him so he can get to see a girl naked in the ladies' room or in the shower. Really? I mean, I'm out here on the ground speaking to people that are involved in this kind of stuff, and they're laughing at this argument that Heritage Foundation has. They're laughing at it. They're talking about how absurd it is, how nothing like that has occurred in their schools where they have trans children. And they've had trans children for 8 years participating in these cross-gender bathrooms. I mean, you know, this debate that we keep talking about, at some point it's got to end. And I believe that's one of the reasons for this Equality Act. All of these things are going to be tweaked. You know, women-only spaces, okay? Female athletes competing against trans female athletes who have an unfair advantage. That's the argument. Okay, so we need to, I'll agree. I agree 100%. If I claim to be trans, if I was a cross-country runner, a young boy in high school, cross-country runner, and I decided one day to claim to be transgender and get to race against the girls, I would have an unfair advantage on them. I don't care what anybody says. This is common sense. I got more fast twitch muscle fibers. I got probably longer legs. I probably got broader shoulders. I got a longer gait. I can possibly have more endurance. And that comes down to conditioning. There could be a girl that has more endurance than me. But let's say I'm a hurdler, or let's say I'm a javelin thrower, or let's say I'm a shot putter, okay? I mean, just look it up. Across the board, you'll see in world record set and in top level sports, men have a 10 to 13% advantage over women. in the times or the distances that this stuff occurs in, okay? But we know that when a man has been on cross-sex hormones for 3 to 6 years, he will lose 10 to 12% of his abilities. And when a female transitions to male and gets on cross-sex hormones for 3 to 6 years, her abilities can increase 10 to 12%. But it puts them right there. It puts everybody right there. So you know what? Sports is a business, and it's all about making money. And people are going to get really tired of going to watch the trans females kick all the cisgendered females' ass in sports. So they're going to do something about it. This stuff's all going to get ironed out. Okay? They're going to maybe, you know, far be it from me to tell the Olympic Committee what to do, but maybe we need to have the trans females on hormones for 3 to 6 years before they can compete as women. I mean, we have all the statistics. This is you know, far left trans rhetoric saying there's no difference. You know, that's crazy. It's crazy. Okay? And I'm not gonna side with it. It makes no sense. But to say that the Equality Act will erase women because of something like this is just fear-mongering. Change is hard on some people. Heaven knows it's hard on me. But with almost half the country already passing equality laws, and with 69% of the country supporting this law, fearmongers and narrow-minded people need to look up and see the writing on the wall. It's time for the Equality Act. Contact your representatives. Contact your senators specifically. That's where it's going to fail, in the Senate. Your voice does count. Love and peace to all, and let's just try to accept one another for who we are.